I've built my own Copilot from Microsoft 365. I've used Claude Code to do it. I've prompted and vibe coded my way through to get the integration completed between Claude Code and Microsoft 365. So whether that's the researcher outputting its data directly into my OneNote notebook for me, having it built a custom Teams app, or going off and having an agent that goes off and answers my Teams messages for me on my behalf. The AI integration that I've built between Claude Code and Microsoft 365 is called FirstMate. Let me introduce you to something that is really helping me from a productivity point of view. As you can see, I've got Microsoft Teams here on my left-hand side opened, and I've also got Terminal open with Claude Code. I've got a background instance that just helps one or two things to run through, and I'll try and explain that a little bit later on. But I'm going to get someone to send me a message in Teams, and I'm going to get Claude Code to reply for me. I've given it an agent. I've given it some trigger words on what I want it to do as part of a conversation flow. So let me get that started. So there we go. We have a message from Bex Hill that's just come into Teams. I'm not going to read it yet. I'm going to leave it unread purposely, and I'm going to start my FirstMate agent for Teams. So there you go. You can see a list of agents that I've got. And I was going to run this this agent to be able to go off and do it. As I said, there's a couple of trigger words that run. And what Terminal is doing, it's running a whole bunch of scripts that it has built because I asked it to build this element that it could communicate. And it's going to send a couple of messages back as my replies. And because it's got delegated rights from the Microsoft platform using the Microsoft Graph, it shows that it comes from me. So if I logged in as Bex now, I'll be able to see the messages and it would say me. So the first thing I've done here is I've got FirstMate to introduce itself, but so the reader knows that it's actually a digital assistant rather than the actual Alex Pierce. So as it says here, FirstMate, hi Bex, I'm FirstMate, Alex's digital assistant. I'm running on Claude Code. You'll always know it's me, as when I reply, it will be that particular emoji, FirstMate. At the start, Alex has me helping manage his messages while he's busy. Let me help get this meeting sorted. Now, I wouldn't want to be calling an agent every single time I do this. Maybe I'll have some kind of workflow that kind of runs through. But this is just for me to be able to demonstrate that when I hit this particular agent, that it goes off and completes this task for me. As that second response has kind of been sent through, it's picked up the trigger word that it wants me to speak to a customer. That was my trigger word. And it's gone off and it said, can you give me who the customer is, what they want to talk about, when, all that kind of side of things. And as you can see here on the right-hand side inside of Claude Code, it's giving me a bit more of the, okay, I found a request from Bex Hill. It's a customer request. It's responded with an introduction and a request for customer details. So this is how I've trained the agent using my natural language. It's gone off and built the scripts. It's built the agent automatically for me because that is what Claude Code is so good at, going off and delivering for me. Actions taken, sent 2 messages, workflow in process, waiting for customer information. So you can see that it understands what the next steps are as well. So I'll just get Bex to send me another message now, and we'll get a few more details. So there you have it. There's a response there from Bex, and I'm going to call the same agent again and ensure that it goes off and does a reply. So let's pull that through that FirstMate Teams. And the agent is trained to understand the conversation. So it looks at the whole context of the conversation. So not just the current response, but the conversation flow. It saves those information. And you can see fairly quickly it's already responded. Got a few things it goes off and runs the process just to be able to tell me a little bit more around what's going on. So as you can see there, response has got in fairly quickly. Again, it's got that intro to say it's FirstMate. Thanks for these details, Bex. I've checked against Alex's availability criteria and we're good to proceed. Next steps, please book ahead and book a 60-minute meeting directly in Alex's calendar. The extra time versus 30 minutes ensures there's enough room for proper introduction and meaningful conversation. Alex will receive the invite and I'll make sure he prepares the context you've shared. There you go. So I can get Claude Code very easily. I've not written a line of code myself to go off, run in delegated access and send messages on my behalf. I told it to run some PowerShell scripts to create everything that it needed to inside of Azure, but I had to log in personally to be able to add this information in as part of a trusted process that Microsoft have. Next up, I want to create some information. I'm going to have a call with NVIDIA. I want to understand a little bit more around them. So just for now, I'm just going to create a clear context window. I'm going to call up, as you can see here, again, a bunch of the agents that I've got. Now, I've got an agent that just goes off and does some general research. As you can see here, the first mate researcher. But I've also got a customer one. So if I bring that one in, and if I say the customer is NVIDIA, and I tell this to run. Now, let me explain what's going on here. I have a knowledge source. I've built a knowledge source, and my knowledge source is inside of OneNote. As you can kind of see here, it says across the top, let me start by discovering the OneNote structure and then conducting thorough research. So I've always asked it to go off and check this information. What's currently there? Can it go off and do something for me? And I'm using an MCP. I asked Claude Code to create me an MCP server that can then talk to the Microsoft graph and save all my content inside of a OneNote. I didn't want this process of where I got to talk to the researcher inside of Copilot to then go off and copy that and then save this and then copy again and stick it into OneNote. No, I just wanted to be able to say, agent, this is the name of the customer, go off and find and tell me more about NVIDIA. Now, with this research agent as well, I can tell it what I want it to be able to go off and find. Can you find out who the executive leadership team is, the kind of things that they're working on at this moment in time, their latest annual reports, if you can find that kind of information. So I've been very specific in the way that I want this researcher to be able to go off and complete this work for me. And that's exactly one of the benefits that I've got here within Claude Code is by being specific around that code. All I have to do is go agent, all that context, all that understanding of what it should go off and deliver, and then go off and complete that for us. So Claude was just asking me there, is it okay to be able to go off and run a few different things for me? I'm happy with that. I like the fact that it checks in with me. And what we should see in a minute is this information getting uploaded into my OneNote. So let me open that up for you. So while Claude Code is still running in the background, doing that research, putting things together, you can see that this is my OneNote, my first note knowledge base. I've got a whole bunch of different areas in here. So for example, if I go to Copilot licensing, I've got a whole bunch of information around E3 plus Copilot readiness information. I've got some scenarios around other bits. There's plenty of stuff in here. How does the pay-as-you-go costing working? So I've got this knowledge source that, if I'm honest with you, I've got Claude Code to build for me and go off and deliver. So useful stuff for me. You can see it's kind of put into tables. It's done kind of coloring for me. Lots of stuff that's on here that's kind of useful for me as part of this agent and this process flow that I'm showing you. If I jump back to customers, we're not quite here yet with the NVIDIA, but I'll be back in a second once Claude Code has finished and I will show you this page. So Claude Code's told me it's finished, and as you can see here now, we've got this NVIDIA information that's created. Put this information out for me, as you can see, and it's quite comprehensive. I've told it, it's giving me some information around confidence levels, when the research was completed. Always useful to know when it did it. The citations, the sources that it's found, information on this particular organization, the about, key people within that business, products and services of what this particular company do. We've probably all heard of NVIDIA if we're talking about Claude Code and Copilot. Recent developments, what's in the news for them, and you can see key customers and financial information that is there. And it's telling me where it's pulled that information from. Always good to be able to go off and check on that kind of side of things. So that's a great way of being able to have my researcher go off and complete the research in exactly the way that I want to every single time, rather than necessarily anything else. And just to show you, here's my Claude Code that tell me it's gone off and finished it. So you go, it's finished off. It's told me where it's put it. It's put it into the customer base, NVIDIA. It's got the company profile, confidence level around how accurate this information is. I asked it to put that in there as part of that prompt, what the agent does, some of the key takeaways. So the knowledge base, it's got more information in it than this. Is just a small summary for me. It's giving me the link of where it is within my SharePoint environment. So you can see it's been uploaded to my my SharePoint.com in my team site that I've got here. and all the different citations of where it pulled all that information through from this website. So you can see, I know the other one it said 6, but that's because we've got NVIDIA in here 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So just showing it's putting this information through from multiple locations, but it's also giving me all this information here as well. What I've also got in here is I've got some MCP servers. So let me just show you my MCPs that I've got in here. You'll notice I've got 2. The first is that first mate knowledge base. That's going off and talking to that OneNote for me inside of the Microsoft 365 environment. So using the graph to be able to pull that information through. And I've also got one based on the roadmap, which is a GitHub repository that I've put up externally that you can go off and download should you want to be able to do so. If you just pass Claude Code the URL, it will go off and add this MCP for you. It really is that simple. So let's start to bring through a bit of information. So the first thing I'm going to do is call through the PowerPoint agent. As you can see here, I'm going to say we've got a meeting transcription because we had a call between myself, Bex, and a couple of people from Contoso. And we're also going to bring through the knowledge of the company, knowledge of the meeting and the E3, E5 licenses from that Copilot licensing section. And I'm actually going to pull through some and ask it to create a slide based on the latest 5 Copilot updates that he thinks that are user-friendly. So it can take me a while to write this prompt, but I'll forward it on quickly just so you can see and you're not having to sit here and watch me type. So I've added my prompt. As you can see, I've got the agent here. So I've called the first mate PowerPoint agent. And this is what I'm saying. From the meeting transcription with the call I've just had with the Contoso, can you create me a PowerPoint slide deck around the meeting? Pull the information on Contoso from my knowledge source to help with building out content. Also cross-reference information from the call with the Copilot licensing section to add guidance for the customer in the slide deck. Create a slide around the top 5 updates from the Microsoft roadmap. That's my other MCP that I was talking about earlier on, where it goes and talks to the Microsoft roadmap. Make the slide deck customer focused to help them with the output of the meeting. So I'm saying the context of the output needs to be for the customer focus rather than necessarily my own. So I'm going to let this run. I'm going to let it find the transcription, find out all that different information itself. Now, technically, I guess I could program the agent to be able to go off and do all this for me, and all I have to do is select the meeting. But I wanted to be able to demonstrate the kind of context that you can give it and the level of detail that it goes off and does. Let's go through what it's kind of saying here. I'll help you with creating a comprehensive PowerPoint deck for your Contoso meeting. Let me gather all the necessary information first. So it's going to go and find out what it needs to. So let me navigate just a little bit up here so you can see what's being said. So first is, I'll help you create a comprehensive deck from the Contoso meeting. Great. I found the Contoso transcript, so great, it's found that information. It's going off to get the MCP details around the roadmap. And then it's called the knowledge base for Contoso because we referenced the customer and who they are. And then again, it's used that MCP to go to that OneNote to get that information for Contoso. We've got the other knowledge base MCP running to get the Copilot licensing, and then it gets off a bunch of files, it looks like, from that knowledge source, which includes our M365 Copilot frequently asked questions, the overview of Microsoft 365 Copilot licensing, and it's stating now, perfect, now I have all the information I need. Let me structure the slide content and generate the PowerPoints. And you can see it's currently getting licensing guidance from the knowledge base, understanding that. Then it's going to start the structure slide content based on what was there. It looks like that's finished. It's building out the slides, and sometimes we do get a few little errors like this. This is the brilliant thing about the Claude Code, is its ability to be able to go and resolve itself too. Goes off and writes a whole bunch of content. If it has an issue, it finds another way to be able to go off and do this. And sometimes I find that the PowerPoint things do fail a little bit. It does try to structure the XML file. If you've ever tried to rename a PPTX to a .zip or a .cab file, you can see that it's just a bunch of XML files, and the images are stored in there, and the videos are in there, and all that kind of sort of thing. So it's doing checks. It's making sure that things are working correctly. This agent knows to be able to go off and run this PPTX client. I don't know what that is. I've just let it go off and do that itself. I've not told it to use this. I've allowed Claude Code to figure all this out for me. Here's some of those tests that it does. Excellent. The template analyze works. The template was the right structure. And it's actually gone off and building a whole bunch of things now. It looks like almost too fast for me to keep up on the screen. But it looks like perfect. The PowerPoint was generated successfully. However, I noticed we used some old PPTX Gen.js script. Let me check what it's included and see if I need to enhance it. That's great, right? This is Claude Code checking the content, making sure it's a PowerPoint, can it go off and do everything it needs to. And it looks like it's finished. Let's go through what it's actually given us as an output. I've created a comprehensive PowerPoint presentation for your Contoso meeting follow-up based on the sources of information, the transcription, 48-minute meeting discovery. Brilliant. It says who was on the call. Contoso company profile. It's pulled through a couple of documents around E3 to E5, pay-as-you-go strategies, pricing optimization, and of course that MCP roadmap. So the top 5 relevant updates for January 2026. So again, that's where AI thinks it does it. Here's my slides. I should have about 9 slides from the look of it. And it's giving me a key highlight, key insights highlights. Copilot doesn't break your security model, but it does expose the holes in it rather than efficiently. So that's something that's quoted. You can see who it's quoted. It's pulled that from that transcription from the look of it. I also gave this agent some instructions around storing that file. So it stores it locally for me. It also uploads it to my OneDrive. And it also, as you can see here, creates a share link. The deck is customer focused and ready to send to Contoso Marina Industries. I never said Marina Industries. That's come from that MCP that looks at the OneNote to find that information for me. It combines all the key elements from the meeting, enriched with their company profile and specific Microsoft licensing roadmap guidance tailored to their needs. Let's open it. Here we go. This finished roughly 2 minutes ago from the time that I've got here. So here you go. You can see it now inside of here. Opened, only created about 2 minutes ago. Let's open this up and have a look what it is. So AI transformation roadmap. That's what it's kind of decided to call this. A little bit about Contoso. So there we go. Some brief information that's pulled through. Customer state assessment. So 15% adoption. Limited to email summaries and meeting caps. So he must have pulled that from the meeting transcription. Underestimated training needs after rollouts. Users are unsure how to use efficiently. So again, these are those change management gaps that he's found that are key. Critical business challenges. So it looks like we've got a slide for each section that it's kind of pulled through. Copilot and licensing guidance. So it's telling them what's there. Licensing recommendations. So target full license for sales and leadership. Use pay-as-you-go options for occasional users. 15% discount available through June 2025. So not sure where it found that information from, but that seems a little bit old considering it's now January 2026. Roadmap updates. Here we go. Those are 5 updates. Structured document generation. Team immersive events. Viva experts. Team calls. Maybe I should have changed my prompt to say Copilot updates. That probably would have been a bit more relevant. But what's the next steps? Oh, here we go. Immediate actions. Schedule workshop with stakeholders. And ready to transform. Question mark. Let's build your AI-powered future together. Well, there you have it. Can Claude Code go and code against the Microsoft Graph and build applications and talk directly to Teams and OneNote and build its own MCPs? Absolutely. You've seen it. You've seen messages that were sent by Claude Code directly into Teams using its knowledge base, which is actually my OneNote, and adding and doing research within the agent of Claude Code and then sending it up to OneNote and then building out that PowerPoint agent to be able to, you know what, ask it, take this information, and then build me a PowerPoint with that. We could improve the prompts. We could improve some of these services. We could add error handling. We could upload it to Azure Functions to be able to go off and run so it automatically pulls information as soon as a message is rather than me telling it to run as an agent. I just wanted to be able to demonstrate some of the agentic AI features that we get within Claude Code to support this process. If I got Claude Code to put out everything as one big process, you would never have seen Claude Code capability. So I hope you found this video useful. If you've got some ideas around maybe what could Claude Code do within the Microsoft 365 platform, I'd love to know that. And I'll build it as a separate video. I'll build out the process, how it goes through, show you almost from start to finish how it builds this, and then get it uploaded into the Microsoft 365 platform and then review. So leave a comment and a like below. Let me know what you think of this video. I really like Claude Code and Microsoft 365 together. It's really helping me